Still talking politics, political parties in Akwa Ibom State have described the results of the just concluded governorship and House of elections in the state as unacceptable. The major opposition parties in the state rejected the results that declared Pastor Umo Eno as the winner because the election outcome did not reflect the will of the electorate in the state. They called on their supporters to remain calm as they will challenge the process through the right channels.
Compliments to the good people of Akwa Ibom and members of the Accord Party. I want to congratulate you on maintaining peace and order after the elections of 18th of March. We are aware that the elections were marred with thuggery, widespread violence, massive vote buying by agents of the PDP, voters' intimidation, and falsification of results at the units. Irrespective of this, I still call on the people of Accord Party, the followers, to maintain peace and order while we seek justice. I believe that we as civilians will do all we can to maintain this democracy that was handed over to us. I will not carry out actions that will mar democracy in Nigeria or make us seem to be living in a banana republic. Subsequently, we call for the cancellation of the elections due to the above reasons, and we call for proper elections to be done or matters to be looked into. But for now, I call on everybody to maintain peace and order.
The rigging syndicate of the state administration and INEC officials were selected in a few locations to allow the conduct to run a bit fairly, mainly in most part of Ikot Senatorial District and Uyo Senatorial District, while Eke Senatorial District was shambolic, and most of the polling unit results were pre-written. Worse still, the PDP state administration also deployed higher thugs who were dressed in police, military, and paramilitary uniform to kill, molest, maim, and chase away YPP party agents and supporters in the polling unit and registration areas across the state. This dastardly act was carried out by a team of policemen from the government house, Uyo. The electoral umpire has certainly robbed the people of their right to have who they wanted. Nevertheless, any victory outside what the people wanted is just in the interim.
Now, the ruling Progressives Congress on Monday sustained its winning streak in more states of the Federation, retaining Kaduna, Borno, Nasarawa, Cross River, Ebonyi, and Niger, while recovering Benue State from the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP. But APC lost to New Nigeria People's Party in Kano State, while the PDP reclaimed Plateau State from the ruling party, just as it retains Bauchi, Delta, and Taraba states. Meanwhile, the PDP raised the alarm over alleged plans by the INEC leadership and APC to manipulate results of the governorship election in Taraba State. But the suspicion vanished when the commission declared PDP's Abu Kefas winner of the election. Arise analyst Dayo Shobowale joins us now to discuss APC's sustained momentum in the governorship poll despite perceived failings of the party. Now, when you look at the numbers, it's 9 out of 11 of the incumbent APC governors who were able to retain their offices. Now, what do you think is a bigger factor at play here? Is it the power of the incumbency, or is it a reward for good performance? What culminated in these individuals retaining their seats?
Both factors, incumbency factor, performance. If you perform well, the electorate will reward you, and vice versa. Then there's also the bandwagon effect of the presidential election. But then, you see, the statement there says, despite the perceived failures of the party. I will address that first before I go on to elaborate on why I think they won. I've mentioned the bandwagon effect. But then on the eve of the party, you will see that this was a party with division in its leadership. You get me? It was at the eve of the election that the government put in place a financial policy that literally alienated the electorate. That in any normal political system would have ensured that the ruling party would lose the election. But then somehow they managed to survive. How they survived could be traced to the personality and trajectory of their presidential candidate and the way they managed the division within the party. There's a saying that when the fish is rotting, you look at the head. That was the situation with the APC on the eve of the election. Because the Naira redesign policy and the fuel shortages were meant to decapitate the chances of the presidential candidate of the ruling party. But you see, the presidential candidate, the Jagaban, I will compare him to, I will describe it with an adage. You know, the adage of the reed and the oak, the strong oak, facing a storm coming. The strong oak said, no, it's strong, we will stay and we stand the storm. And then it was uprooted and went into oblivion. But this small reed bent in the direction of the wind and survived. That is the story of the president-elect of the APC against the leadership of the party. And then again, you have to look at how the leadership, another section of the leadership, the governors especially, reacted against that. They felt for the people. They wrote against it, went to the presidency to appeal that some people who had lost elections for the primaries, especially the CBN governor, had malice that they didn't want the party to succeed. They did not succeed there. They went to court and obtained an injunction from the Supreme Court saying the action of both the president and the CBN governor were illegal. This garnered support and sympathy and empathy for the party. So in spite of all the obstacles, they won. And the rest is history, together with the wagon effect. But then you must still look at another issue that put obstacles in their path. The Muslim ticket, based on competence, as it were, did not gel well in parts of the country. And they almost cost the party this majority in Lagos. Because the APC presidential candidate lost in Lagos. The party lost in the home state of the president of the Republican leader of the party. You get me? But somehow, you see, the personality of the president-elect, that of a bridge builder, he had built bridges across the country. Look at how the party spreads its victory. Now, 12 states presidential, then in the legislative and the governorship, so the northeast, the northwest, 4 corners of Nigeria, they are there, right up to rivers. So it's a widespread. You get me? It is at once a tribute to the leadership of the president-elect, as well as sympathy for his patience in enduring what he went through, right from the primaries of his party, when he started in indignation Emilokon. That is still resonating, that sympathy for him that was being seated, that multiplied into electoral victory for him. And you have to commend his leadership style in that regard.
Thank you, Mr. Shobowale.
Yes.
We're still focusing on the governorship elections,
right, which
have concluded in most states. It seems that bandwagon effect didn't necessarily extend to the likes of Kano, which was, taken by NNPP, and Plateau States that was reclaimed by PDP. So what would you say happened in those states?
Okay, Kano is Kwakwanso territory, Kwakwasia. You get me? And if you look at the pictures, people were guarding their votes. No, the incumbency factor did not favor APC, because people in Kano see Ganduje as deputy to Kwakwanso. He was his deputy governor before they fell out. And later Etu said that they have settled their differences and they are back. But Kwakwanso politically owns Kano. You get me? And what other state? Okay, look at Kaduna too. Uba came back. There has always been that guys with El Rufai, But I think they settled their differences and were able to create.
Mr. Shobowale, can I just interject?
Yes.
Because our time is very far stretched. And earlier, I believe your theory was that in the areas, there were areas where governors were re-elected on performance, and
yes.
where they failed on performance,
yes.
they were re-elected because, or APC won because of the charisma of the presidential candidate. Right. What do you say of a state like Cross River State, where the Labour Party won the presidential election, and if you speak to any Cross Riverian on the performance of the outgoing governor, that's Ben Ayade, the reviews are very discouraging. So what do you say happened there, very briefly?
Well, maybe, Labour is like a phenomenon. A newfound phenomenon in this election. Maybe people are totally frustrated with the major parties. You get me? Just like they did in the 12 places that Obi won. You get me? Obi won as many as PDP. I mean, won 11. PDP won 12. The presidential election, the APC won 12. So the real revelation in this election is the Peter Obi phenomenon. You get me? And it caught on with people, although it fizzled out.
Even though he was
fizzled out
for the governorship election.
Yes. It fizzled out after the presidential election.
Well, thank you so much,
yes.
Mr. Dayo Shobowale, Rise News analyst. We appreciate your time as always. Thank you.